Even though it's still late summer here, let's talk about driving in winter conditions. For some, it may be a consideration when considering what vehicle to buy for yourself or for a taxi service, whether or not to buy a vehicle with, all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. For me, it's not really a consideration. I just always drive a front-wheel drive car, and I think my current car has all-wheel drive capability with a push of a button, but I went through last winter having never engaged it. So I'm comfortable driving in the winter with just a front-wheel drive vehicle. I was brought up in upstate New York anyway, and I'm used to the winters. My first four vehicles were rear-wheel drive standard shift cars, and I got used to driving rear-wheel drives in the winter. And then I switched over to front-wheel drive. And my observation is this, that it's easier to get into a skid with a rear-wheel drive car, but the physics are such that it's easier to pull out of a skid with a rear-wheel drive car. Front-wheel drive, it's harder to get into trouble, but it's also harder to get out of a skid once you're in a skid. And I think it's just the physics involved. In fact, I've had to kind of train myself. My reaction when I get into a skid with front-wheel drive is to tap on the gas, not the brake, because I want to get the wheels spinning a little bit faster so that I maintain steering control. That's just my theory. Seems to work, but that's how I handle skid situations. We have pretty good snow removal in our area, so when it's actively snowing, if we wait an hour or two after it stops snowing, the roads are generally clear enough to drive on and fairly safe. That being said, I don't actually take taxi calls anymore when it's actively snowing, and not because I can't drive in the snow or ice, but it's because I'm susceptible to getting hit by others. In fact, I've been hit twice by others in snowstorm situations, and for that reason, I just prefer to stay in when it's actively snowing hard and then start taking calls after the roads are clear. Now, it's not to say I've never run into anything myself. I've never hit another car in a snowstorm, but I've run into other things in a snowstorm. I run into curbs, and I run into poles, and I run into snowbanks. So I'm certainly understanding of those who, lose control of their car and have hit me. But that's just part of the game when you're driving in the snow in upstate New York.